everybody, welcome to Epida Studio. My name is Elizabeth and today we're going to be making the Algonquin Charm quilt block. Now the Algonquin Charm is a pretty star and it's kind of similar to the bear paw or bear claw quilt. But this is a fun star to make and it's only made with simple shapes, squares, rectangles, and triangles. So to make this block, you are going to need 4 background color rectangles that are 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. You're going to need 1 feature color square that is 2.5 inches. Then you're going to need 4 feature color squares that are 3 inches square, 4 feature color squares that are 3 inches square, and 8 half square triangles that are made with the background color and the feature color. Now, often in quilts, the background color is light and the feature color is dark. That is a traditional way, but in this case, I'm using a dark background and a light feature color for a bit of variety. So you can feel free to mix up the colors however you want. Just make sure that there's contrast between the background and the main color fabric so that you'll be able to see the design well. So for your half square triangle units, you do want these at this size to be 3 inches, which often when you're making pieces, you want it to be something and a half, but the finished size of this is going to be 2.5 inches. So you can use whatever method you want to make your half square triangles. In this situation, because we do need 8, I would recommend if you have something for paper piecing, like Thangles or some other printed paper to do that, this would be a great opportunity to try that because you do need 8 for the block, and that is a method that will make lots of blocks quickly and accurately. So if you want a tutorial about that, you can check the link below, but you can use any method for half square triangles. So now we're going to take our pieces and we're going to lay them out to make sure we have everything and everything's going in the right orientation. So the small feature square goes right in the middle, and then the rectangles come out from there at north, south, east, and west. Then the larger feature squares go in the inner corners. The background squares go in the very outside corners. Now we just have the triangles, and the triangles go right in the corners. And we can see they point towards each other. So we have all the pieces. It looks like it's laid out and it's going to work. So the first step we're going to do is going to assemble these corner units. So the feature fabric, the background fabric, and 2 half square triangles. And we're going to do 4 of those. So to do those, turn them over. Remember, we're going to be stitching this side, and we're going to take that to the sewing machine. Now, I would like to get all 4 and take them at once, and we can chain piece those. If you need a pin to put in to help you remember which side you're going to be stitching, feel free to do that, anything that is helpful. But hopefully I can remember to hold them the right way, take the machine, and then I'll be able to just stitch along the side without pinning. So now we're at the sewing machine, and we want to stitch these with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you can see I have this little marker here to show me my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So take the time before you begin to figure out where your exact 1/4 inch seam allowance is, and take the time before each project just to figure it out, because it will shift a little bit depending on your needle and your thread and your fabric. But once you have it, then you should be good to go. And we'll just chain piece, keep stitching one right after the other without stopping in between. So now we have all these pieces. They've been chain piece one right after the other. We're just going to snip them apart and then take them to press. So to press these, we want to lay them down with the solid color square up. Then we're going to set the hot iron on just to set the seams in, and then open and press down. And you want to press with an up and down motion, not a back and forth motion. So the same with the other side, solid color up. We're going to press, and now we can see these two will be going together. And because we've pressed the seams toward the solid color square, they're going in opposite directions. So when we lay them right sides together, the seams nest together really nicely. So we're just going to repeat with the other 3 corners. So now at the sewing machine, we're going to continue to stitch these together. And because of those nested seams, I don't have to pin. I can feel how they nest together nicely. But if a pin makes you more comfortable, feel free to use pins. So now for pressing them, I'm going to lay it with the darker side up. So whether that's the background or the feature fabric, it doesn't matter, but whichever one's darker, the darker square up, because then that will have the seam pressed underneath the darker side. So we're going to press all 4 corners. And once all 4 corners are pressed, we're just going to lay them out again to make sure that everything is still going the right way. I do like to keep everything laid out as I'm making the block because it's so easy for me to get things switched around. So if you have a little mat or a mini block design board, then that's nice. You can take that and even move that over to your ironing board. So now everything looks great. And you can see this is basically like a 9-patch block. There's 3 across, 3 down. So we're just going to join them into rows and then join the rows together. So we'll start by joining these 2 pieces. So now we've sewn everything into rows. We have our 3 rows, and notice that all our seams are pressed toward the background fabric. I would do that even if the background fabric is lighter, because on this piece has a number of seams and this piece doesn't. So it's easier to have this flat than to try and fold all those seams back on themselves. So press everything toward the background fabric, and then we can easily join these 2 rows together. So when we're adding our rows together, we're still going to press toward the inside row so that there are less seams being folded. Then give it one final press. And there it is, the fun Algonquin Charm block. So this block is 12.5 inches square, so it'll finish 12 inches in your quilt. So you can use this to make a whole quilt with this block, or you can use it as part of the Twinkle Sampler quilt. which is Fun Quilt. So check below for more information. And if you want more tutorials, ideas, and inspiration, check out epidastudio.com. Bye.